Boom. We're back. You know us. We call ourselves the Giants guys. And whether you've uploaded it or downloaded it, you've got yourself an hour of Giants entertainment. As you can see on screen, Jeff is puffing out his chest in his shirt. We have my guys. We've got Jeff and Spiro and Mikey B and Michael Stewart. And, of course, me as your host, Craig Santucci, the annoying one. But I'm back. And as I said a couple minutes ago, I grow on you like mold. So don't deny that you actually like me, because you do. Because I see on Twitter how much you love to annoy me. And I love you too. So thank you for all you followers. And if you're leaving us, I don't know why, and I'm sorry, but the other 5,000 plus people, thank you for sticking in with us. We are trying to bring you some great quality Giants content. Bang, right? So with further ado, we are going to show notes, because I actually have to write things down, or we might get off topic, which we do anyway, but it might be, it might be less entertaining unless I write stuff down. All right. So I hope you enjoyed the Russ Salzberg interview from last week, where we kind of started off, midsummer. We didn't have a lot to talk about, right, guys? And then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. There's like 5 things to talk about.
Things are rolling.
Yeah, it got rolling. Exactly. And, we got to pick through what's most important, what you guys give a crap about. Keeping that PG. So we're going to start off with, I was going to call it the bees, because Michael.
It used to be.
Yeah, we.
They're dropping like flies.
Yeah.
The killer bees are now.
Yeah.
Thinking about jinxed them.
Because Mikey B had us at like killer bees, and we were all like, yeah, that's really cool. And they're dropping like flies. So
Well played. Well played.
It's killer bee now.
Yeah. We got some family members. We got some family members in with the Stewarts.
Can't keep the paparazzi away from us.
Yeah, exactly.
My wife was actually topless. I pushed her out of the way.
All right. Yes.
What
Michael,
kind of show is this?
Tell your wife this is a PG-13 show. Okay.
Oh.
We'll be doing some editing real fast.
That's staying.
Yeah, that's the difference. He's not gonna like us, guys, if we leave that in there. All right, so let's fire this up. We are the Giants guys, and we are here to entertain you. And we're starting all with Baker and Beal, 2 Bs. All right, as we know, Baker is just not on the roster. We know what's going on there. That's been the drama over the last. What do you say, about 2 months, right?
Feels like forever.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. But the new addition now is Beal, okay, who has opted out. And we're not trying to hold anything against people who opt out, because it's, hey, safety, right? Safety comes first. The difference that Beal has is that, he was a supplemental draft guy. We moved up to get him. We maneuvered around for this talent that really hasn't done or shown a thing. He's either, been hurt or, slow to pick up, the system. So my question is, with Baker and Beal not on the roster in 2020, do the Giants need to grab another corner? Because we do have some cash now, with Solder also opting out. In a case of guys, these guys had high potential. Baker and Beal, both high potential, and aren't going to live up to it. They're just not, especially Beal, because he's had 2 or 3 years to actually do it. So the question is do we need to pick somebody up? Because is it a case with Beal that, maybe he realized, it was a lot harder to be an NFL DB than he thought? Is the work ethic there? And I'm going to start with you, Mikey B, on what your take is and what we need to do.
All right. Thank you. I think, you got to grab another corner. I'm looking at Logan Ryan. I think that the possibility and the familiarity with Judge, and he's a local guy. He's 29. I think he's a good possibility and a good fit. And the main reason you need to bring in a veteran or two is because you can't rely, and nothing against Grant Haley, but like when a guy like that is out there, he's going to get picked on and targeted by the opposing teams, and we've seen that too many times. So, yeah, they're going to need, from a depth standpoint, to bring in a couple of guys, even if it's just somebody who gets a limited number of snaps. And then with Baker, I think he's perceived as somebody who's just not the sharpest tool in the shed. And with Beal, it's disappointing, really, because the production hasn't been there. And the last few years, all I've heard about and read about is that the value was going to be there, and it's just like the production hasn't matched. So I'm not going to say that he doesn't work hard or anything, but unfortunately, there comes a time when push comes to shove. If you're not going to produce, and potential, really, you can throw it out the window.
Yeah, that all makes sense because, yeah, you're right. We've been waiting on Beal to do something and take off, and it never seems to happen. What do you think, Michael Stewart? Like, do we have enough guys in house? Do we now need to go get somebody? What's your take on Beal? Is it like, well, we're not killing him for opting out. We understand why, but for a guy who really needed to show this year, I don't know. It doesn't look good for him.
No, you just answered your own question. It doesn't look good for him, and he needs to. Maybe, like you said, maybe the fire is not there for him. I don't know, but if he does come back in 2021, he's going to have to show something else. I don't think the rope will be long for him, so to speak. The Giants got three options, right? They can make a trade, like what Mikey said. They can go free agency, and they can also do the waiver wire, which takes a little longer. But each one comes with different value. So I don't know if they're going to spend a lot of money. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they got about $16 million cap space right now because of Soldier. So I don't know what they're going to do. I think they definitely need people to come in. They can't stay with the guys they got. They need depth and see who takes that starting position. But they have to bring somebody else in, maybe two.
So you're not comfortable with Love taking over that spot, are you?
No, I'm not saying that. I actually, I haven't got it out yet, the roster. I actually have them winning the job with who they have in house, but I don't know, Judge. He may go outside and feel more comfortable getting someone he knows.
All right.
Like I said.
Jeff, what do you got for me?
Yeah, what was once a young crew with a lot of depth all of a sudden is looking real skinny and concerning. And we might have enough guys to start right now, but it's like we have no depth at all right now. So I feel I'm with the guys. You need a veteran presence in there. I don't know. Logan Ryan, I think we'd probably feel the best about putting him on the opposite side of Bradbury. Right? We'd probably feel best about that. I think Aqib Talib is out there. I know he's older. I don't know how much he would cost, but I mean, a veteran presence, I don't know what they're looking at or what the options are, but Logan Ryan's going to cost you. It's going to take away a lot of that extra Soldier money that we were banking on. So it's a lot of things to weigh out there. Maybe there's an option in between that we wind up going with, but I definitely see them bringing in one or two guys to try and help bolster that secondary.
So, Spiro, not only am I giving you this question, I want you to also answer me is Logan Ryan worth it? Why isn't anybody scooping him up? So I'm giving you the double hit. Do we need to pick somebody up? What's Beal's deal? And I'm throwing the extra one in there is, what's Ryan's deal? Somebody should have picked him up already, right?
Yeah. So first off, my preference is that one of these young guys, just runs away with the job like Love. Personally, I love Valentine. I thought he did good in the preseason last year. They put him in a slot, and that's why he was getting toasted all the time. He's not a slot guy. He's an outside guy. So I'd love to have that one of them take the job, but you can't go into the season this depleted you can never have too many cornerbacks, that we have barely any, and they're all rookies or second-year guys. It's not a good combo. So I think you need two guys. Personally, you need like a Cockrell. You could bring him back in. Another name that I liked was Dre Kirkpatrick, because he did play on the same team that Judge was coaching for in Bama. So there might be a connection there. And he's a talented guy that got drafted high. So I want a show me deal with him and, let him play into a bigger contract next year. But I think he would take something small. But for the Logan Ryan question, if you guys actually look under the hood and see his stats last year, he was getting burnt like toast left and right.
They weren't.
They were not good. So I think he's more of a name an actual like great player anymore. So I'm going to pass on him and his price tag, which is likely to be one of the highest ones of all the cornerbacks there. So I love him, Jersey guy and all, but I'm going to have to pass.
All right, so I'm going to bring this back around for one more, and just give me a yes or no. Jeff, DRC?
Why not?
Spiro?
Yeah, I'd sign him for a 1-year deal.
Mikey B?
At this point, I think yes.
Michael Stewart?
Would I sign him? Yes. I don't think the Giants would.
I love it. I absolutely love it. See, I love DRC for a lot of reasons. I know he may be a little bit, of a wild card.
He was good for us, though, man.
See,
Yeah.
not only was he
And
good,
he's a Pro Bowler.
yeah, Pro Bowl, but not only was he good, I like watching certain guys, the style of play, right? So when I say Jenkins, you feel great coverage, but he's not going to tackle
No,
anyone.
not
And what I
anymore.
loved about DRC was he's still tackles you open field, great open field tackler. I thought he was kind of fun. You know what I mean? Like he's got a good personality. Like I never thought DRC was a problem child. I just didn't. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
I'm not in the locker room, but like I thought it was more Jenkins with his crappy attitude
Yeah.
than DRC. And I know
Mhm.
DRC's older, but I just liked him. You know what I mean? I just something about him. I liked because at his age he's still willing to go out there, tackle, open field tackle, and I still think he's got value. So I'm
He's
glad to hear
34.
all you guys say that. What's that?
Yeah, he's probably got 1 more year in him. He was asking how old he was. 34 years old. You'd like for him not to play that much. In a perfect world, one of the young guys takes it, but he would be great veteran depth.
Well, keep in mind, as we all know, Judges doesn't like what was his quote this week? Was absolutely the best quote. He says, if you had 5 or 6 kids, you wouldn't leave your oldest kid to what do you call it?
You wouldn't have your 12-year-old watch your 6-year-olds that was
talking
it. About signing guys to
Yeah, and it was so good. It was like, and I start thinking about it. So he's saying, like, why would I bring in a veteran to coach my
these
young
guys,
guys? Which again makes sense. I don't know if he's against, veterans, but I like DRC. I still think he's got a little in the tank. And I don't know. I just thought he's willing to get dirty,
They probably like him in-house still.
Yeah.
If
I
they
don't
didn't
think
end on bad
One
terms.
year. This is just 1 year we're talking here.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
They just need guys to play some snaps because, even if they roll with what they have, they just don't have enough bodies back there that are going to be
Injuries
serviceable.
are going to happen.
Yep. And my prediction that Holmes is starting is just looking better and better.
I think it's a lock now.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, and I bet DRC takes care of his legs, so I bet I'm sure he could still run, and that was always his game. It was he can run with you. Like where some guys just their legs get shot, and then they turn to more of tacklers or short route guys. Like DRC could always run, and I don't know. I think he'd still be a welcome addition. Like Cockrell, no interest. Spiro's
hating on my boy.
Well, I was going to say the guy.
Good job for them.
Yeah, he did good for us, and he's bounced around pretty well. Not bounced around. He's done good with Carolina too. I believe.
I think I like your original research about the kid from Bama. I think that's
Kirkpatrick. That would be my number one.
Yeah, I just like the fact that like you actually found that piece of information.
Little tidbit for you.
That's stellar research right there, fellas. All right. That you now all have to live up to that benchmark.
Great.
I'm just throwing fun facts out here for the boys.
That's right. You got kicked to the basement, and you got nothing but time.
Yes.
All right. The next one we are calling is Tackle Gate. There's a lot of gates. This is Tackle Gate. So our boy Gates gets re-signed to keep him in blue for a couple more years. Got himself a handsome reward and a new contract. Be able to buy himself a house and settle in somewhere. Was it necessary to do this early? He's a young guy, right? Was it necessary to do this early? With the fans and everyone kind of saying like, who's going to play what position? Everybody's getting crazy. Like, does this solidify him as the center or the right tackle because they signed him? Is the money a sign of him almost winning the job before camp starts? And what do you guys think? Like, where do you see him? Where do you want him to play? You want him to play center? You want him to play guard? So let's chat up a little bit about Gates, because it's interesting, because I don't remember seeing the Giants ever re-up a guy after 1 year and not playing every snap. So it's an interesting play. I'm going to start off with you, Jeff. What's your thought on Gates?
I think he gets a shot to start at center. I think it shows what the team thinks about him with extending him like they did. He's been working out in the offseason next to Hernandez. He was practicing center all offseason. I think he saw that as his best opportunity to get a starting job. Gettleman came out and he said outright that he's in contention for the job, and he said that a while ago. So now that they re-signed him, it's a gaping hole on the offensive line. In 2019, he allowed 1 sack on 290 snaps. So I think the guy's earned his right to a starting job. He did practice at center in 2019, but he played only right guard and right tackle with us last year. But with center being such an important job on the O-line, I think they trust him more than the other options at this point. Maybe ultimately move him to right tackle and Shane can take over. But I think he starts at center for us.
Interesting. All right, Mikey B, what you got?
I think that's going to be contingent on, because I think I like that they locked him up. They see something in him. They made the decision. That's fine. No issue with that. Now, him playing center or right tackle is going to be contingent upon, are you more comfortable with Pulley at center and Gates at right tackle, or are you going to be more comfortable with Gates at center and then maybe Cam Fleming at right tackle? I wouldn't put Matt Part there. Then you have 2 rookie tackles starting, assuming that Thomas starts on the left side. So with that said, I think if you're looking more long-term, then center might be the way to go. But for the time being, I think you got to look at what you're more comfortable with, Pulley or Fleming starting.
Spiro?
Agreed. No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Personally, I think this is a fantastic move by Gettleman here. He locks a player up, and they clearly love him. For $11 million at max over 3 years. And if you got yourself a starter at center or even at right tackle, $11 million for 3 years, if he hits all his incentives, is a bargain. That's an absolute bargain. And if he doesn't, if he's a backup, you get him at $7.5 million for 3 years, and that's still a good. He's not just a swing tackle. He could literally play any position on the line. So you got depth everywhere. Yeah, you got depth everywhere with this guy, and all he does when he gets put in, and no matter what position is, he fights and he does well. He never gets beat. He's smart. He's tough. And like Mikey B was saying, I think it's going to come down to Colombo. Colombo likes better? Pulley at center or Fleming at right tackle. And my guess is he's going to go with Fleming at right tackle because that they played. Fleming played for him in Dallas, so there's a little bit of familiarity there. So I'm going to guess that Gates is really going to push for that center spot and hopefully take it for the next 3 years.
Michael Stewart?
Well, yeah, these guys just filled all the gaps. Yeah, I think Gates is probably going to end up in the long run being the center of the Giants.
Yeah, you said long run. So what about to start the season?
Well, I don't know. I know he's been practicing with in the off season, but not having no snaps in games and live play, it's a big difference, So, I think the center position is the most important. Got to read. You got to communicate with the rest of the linemen on what they got to do. And there's a little growing pains there, but I think eventually, I'm not saying by next year, I'm saying by this year, he'll probably be the center for the Giants.
So I got an interesting take on this. So Pulley, loses his spot, to Pio, which I was never really a big fan of, right? But here's the interesting thing. Pulley got paid. If you remember, if you go back 2 years ago, Pulley got paid. So he's been getting some decent money to sit on the bench. I'm not really sure if there was a power struggle there at all because I think they thought Pulley was going to be the guy, because 2 years ago he came in, filled the position, and did a decent job. Then he got beat out by Pio, but he's getting paid. I'm not so sure they're ready to give up on Pulley quite yet, because if you think about it, he hasn't really had an opportunity. They keep putting Pio in there. And I don't know if that was a if that was a Gettleman thing. I don't know if that was a Shermer thing. I just don't know. I'm not quite there yet with Gates being the center. I'm
Not
fine
right
with
away.
it if it
Not
happens.
right away.
But what's that, Michael?
No, not right away. I don't think
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I don't know. See, the thing about center is I'm not sure you want to switch a center in the middle of the season, or even a quarter way of the season. I think whoever starts holds the job until they get hurt. That's my
Yeah.
honest opinion, because
Okay.
I don't think you don't want to, switch gears mid-season on your second-year QB. However, again, Gates, to me, got paid for a reason, right? He's doing something right where they're like, hey, this guy can play 3 spots, 4 spots. Let's not lose this guy. Whether he starts or he doesn't, let's keep him. Because there's been plenty of linemen that we've drafted that haven't got re-upped in year number 2. I can give you a long list of them. You know what I mean?
And remember, he was an unrestricted free agent, right?
Yep. And here you are in year 2
Exactly.
getting paid, right? Like, if you think about it, if you're Gates, what better opportunity could you get? You come into a place that you don't know what's going to happen. You wind up starting. You play multi-positions. You do well. And in year 2, you get a new contract. How often does that happen?
To go
Right?
from undrafted
Yeah.
to
That's
getting
right.
this deal,
Undrafted.
he's doing some things right, and they obviously
Yeah.
love him. So
Correct. And if you
So-
think about all the linemen that they've had that have been in that situation, or even some of the later round drafts like Hart and Newhouse, those kind of guys, well, Hart anyway, like Brewer, none of these guys got a new deal in year 2. So that says a lot.
mhm.
Okay. It does say a lot. Which will lead us into like the next topic, because they go hand in hand. I have a very an unpopular opinion on this, as I wrote an article on the site nygiantsrush.com. You guys should read it if you haven't. And we're talking left tackle. There's nothing, there's nothing fancy about the title of the section, this segment, but it's left tackle. Here's what I want to say, and I'll usually defer to you guys, but I want you to think about this as you give me your answers. They're, camp cut short, no OTAs, right? You got a kid fresh out of college. Doesn't matter how good he is. It just matters that we know there's only 1,800 guys in the NFL, right? 1,800. Okay. NFL stands for not for long. If you don't make it.
Jerry Glanville.
Yep. You got it. Thank you, sir. Good memory. It's, you don't want to ruin your first round draft pick, right? Like, I mean, he's got a really steep learning curve, and you got a CBA that says you're not allowed to hit anybody. You can't have padded practices. You don't have OTAs. Oh, and by the way, there's no preseason. So now you're going to take a 21-year-old kid and throw him out there against some of the best badass pass rushers in the NFL right out the gate. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm saying you don't have to do it, okay? Fleming has played left tackle and can start there, so the kid gets a little bit more time to get used to the game speed, learn the playbook. Like, yeah, I understand you learn by practicing, but he's not going to practice. No one's going to hit him. You know when he's going to get his first thing? With T.J. Watt jamming down his face.
Monday Night
That's
Football.
how he's going to learn, okay? It's going to be welcome to the NFL, baptism under fire. And I don't want to scar the kid. I know that sounds kind of like, I know he's not soft, and he's extremely cerebral, and I'm excited to have him. Did I want to tackle in the first round? No, but I'm glad he's here. So all I want to ask you guys is, who starts at left tackle and why? And I want you to put some thought into the fact is, like, really, what would be the big deal if Fleming, who's got the experience and knows Colombo, if he started the first 3 games, which would basically be preseason, right? Because Thomas is not going to have any preseason, and you're throwing him in there. He's got a lot, nutrition, working out. He's got to learn the playbook. He's got to learn the system. Like, why just throw him in there? Like, it doesn't serve any purpose. We're already talking about 6 or 7 wins, right? Why? Why not have him start, after a couple more games, get his feet wet and get him going? We don't need another Flowers, okay? We just don't need that whole issue. And I'm going to start with you, Spiro. I know you're up on the you were totally pumped when they drafted the guy. So give me your thoughts and I'd like to know realistically if you're okay with him not starting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if Solder, I was one of the few that wanted Solder to go back to left tackle to start the year for all the same reasons that you mentioned previously. I wanted Thomas to ease into that position, but now that Solder's gone, I just would rather take my chances with the ceiling of Thomas at left tackle. And I know everybody's triggered by Eric Flowers and that whole disaster, but he's the furthest thing from Eric Flowers because he's a technician. He knows how to play left tackle. He was not he doesn't have that raw label and he's not just a tanker out there. He knows what he's doing, and he's been playing in the SEC, which is NFL level every Saturday. So
Good call.
In my opinion, you don't want to shift him to right tackle because you put him at left tackle, let him start there from day one. And, you just see what you have in him because you say you drag it out for 3 weeks. He's still going to be practicing against the same guys. It's not like he's going to be getting the game speed, on the practice field. So just get him in there. Let's go baptism by fire and see what you got in him.
All right. I'm cool with that. I'm just, want to make sure Jones is upright and not,
For sure.
We don't need that whole Eli be great, but he's throwing from his back type of thing again. Michael Stewart, what do you got for me?
Well, first of all, Spiro, you earn a cookie because everything you said was spot on. What I was going to say.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Andrew Thomas started as a true freshman in Georgia. Toughest conference in all of football. He played every game. You got the guy 4th overall pick. Soldier is gone. You got to play him. See what he has. You have to. That's how I feel.
Just throw him out there to the Sharks.
I don't think there's that. I think he's got not only the physical talent but the mentality to handle it. I think the kid's the real deal. I think he's going to be fine.
By the way, I don't want anybody to think I don't think he's the real deal. I just want him to have the appropriate time to grow into the spot. I mean, no preseason's rough.
Yeah, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you don't have that luxury.
Actually, 99.9% of the time you do.
Every other year. Yeah.
It's like, with this pandemic thing, what's it, 1918 swine flu? I mean, yeah. So most of the time, yeah, you normally do have that time. So I just don't want to be hasty, you know what I mean? And be like, let him play. And, and TJ Watt has 6 sacks and McCoy's warming up on the sideline. You know what I mean?
What makes Cam Fleming so good that you feel comfortable with him at left?
Not good.
Experience.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Jeff. And I'm comfortable with the experience and that Colombo knows him. So if Colombo says, look, he can't handle TJ Watt, and I only said that to be funny, TJ Watt actually comes from the other side, so he won't face him. I know they switch him sometimes, but he's predominantly coming from the opposite side. But so it's more about the familiarity of Colombo saying, I know we can't handle this guy. I got a chip with a tight end, So I just not sold on, just throwing him in there to throw him in there because what are we proving? Why not just work the guy up? And that's cool. But, Jeff, go ahead. What do you got?
I completely see the argument for easing him in and not throwing him right into the Sharks because there's no preseason. He's not going to get hit. I completely see all your points. But at the same time, we drafted him because he is the most pro-ready left tackle. That's how they looked at him. They looked at him as a day one starter. And since this year is going to be about progress for this young team, I mean, aside from Mikey B, I couldn't find a single person on Twitter to say that the Giants were getting more than 8 wins when I put my article out today. I predicted 7 and 9, which felt optimistic by the time I was done with it. So this year is about progress. I mean, let him get the most experience possible. Let him go out and see how much better he has to get by facing 3 good defenses to start the year. And that's going to be eye-opening for him. Or we're going to be like, wow, this guy actually held his own as a rookie against these good defenders. So I'm not sure we have the luxury of easing him in, but I do see the point. At the end of the day, I do trust these coaches to make the right call on that.
Mikey B?
Yeah, if Solder is still here, I think it's a different conversation. But the fact that we're talking about Cam Fleming being that alternative, it's not like he has a ton of experience. And this guy, there were 4 premium tackles in the top of the draft, right? This isn't like a Becton situation where we're banking on upside. Like this guy, all the points that were mentioned, he's in the SEC. He's a physical specimen. He's pro ready. If we have any doubts that he gets roughed up in the first month and his mentality is going to collapse and he's going to be Eric Flowers, then we shouldn't have taken his ass. If there are any doubts of that, then we shouldn't have taken him in that spot, right?
Sure.
You got to remember
Agreed.
I hear you, but we said the same thing about Eric Flowers. We're like, look,
Oh,
he's
No,
a
no,
mauler, but he'll be fine.
but he
Throw him
just
in there.
he just wasn't good though. Like this is a different case.
And
You could
the
see
difference between ACC and SEC too. You could get away with mauling people in the ACC. You can't do that in the SEC.
No.
That's NFL level right
Yeah,
there.
quality of the player, no doubt.
Right.
No doubt. And again, I don't have a problem with him
Yeah.
starting. I'm just like thinking to myself, well, what am I proving? Like, I mean, like, you know, is he
I
gonna
feel
know?
you.
Is he gonna know the playbook? Is he
Well,
gonna
Craig,
be? Like,
let
we're
me
cutting
ask
him
you-
short by a month.
With easing him in and not throwing him right in at left tackle, are you suggesting he comes off the bench and gets a few reps or starts at right tackle?
Oh, completely stay on the left side. I don't want him
Okay.
ever to take a snap at right tackle. My thing is this: physically, as all you guys said, he's the most pro ready, right?
Mhm.
I'm on board with that. But the NFL playbook is no joke, right? So he's not going to have 4 weeks of preseason to learn the calls and the shifts and the stunts and, you know what I mean, and the twists. And, like, it just won't be there. Regardless of what anyone tells you, preseason for a rookie's gold, right? So he's not going to have that. So my thought is, like, Fleming starts for 3 weeks, right? And then, like you said, depending on the score, Jeff, maybe he comes in the second half. Maybe he comes in the fourth quarter, right? I just want to make sure he gets a chance to really absorb the playbook and the nuances of the game, not the physicality. He's pro ready, right? I'm sure he could kick back with the rest of them, and I'm sure he's strong as an ox. My thing is, do you really know, or because you don't have 4 weeks of game experience, do you step right when you should have stepped left? Do you stunt inside when you should have been outside and someone blows up Jones?
Fair.
So it's an interesting debate. But no, Jeff, I don't want to ever see him play right tackle
Right on. Okay.
because you've got. I mean, if you really want to just throw the dice, you'll let what's his name, Pert from Connecticut play, or you'll let Gates play. I don't know if Lemieux can play tackle. I know he's more of a guard,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but I'm not at all saying let him play right tackle.
Okay.
I knew you were getting ready to jump on me about that one, but no.
Well, say it, man.
Setting it up.
So, all right, let's keep it rolling. This is kind of like the bonus round because I got my panties in a bunch this week about all these, I don't know what you want to call them, rankings. So
Mhm.
there was a rankings by, more rankings and rankings. Everybody's jumping on board these rankings. So you have the NFL Network ranking the top 100 players by their peers. So supposedly, I mean, some of them are a little out of whack, but no offense to Lamar Jackson, but if Pat Mahomes isn't number one, you lose your credibility right out of the gate.
Yep.
And then, of course, I think on Spiro, so was it Monday that came out, that ESPN one?
I think so. Yeah, it was definitely early this
Yeah.
week.
So ESPN comes out where they ask NFL 60 NFL executives on top players in the category, top QBs, top tight ends, top running backs, and so forth. So these rankings just keep rolling out. And that's fine. It's fun to debate. So my question is, because Barkley made the top 100 by NFL, Barkley and Evan Ingram made the list for the NFL executives. My question is like, are you okay with that? Should have anybody been ranked anywhere here? But if not, that's okay. My question more or less is like, who do you see literally like not pie in the sky? Who legit has an opportunity to make one of these like legit rankings next year? Like, who's a player that's going to make a top 100 voted by their peers, or or top 7? I think it was Spiro or something like that. Or
Yeah.
top-
Well,
top-
it was top 10.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Top 10 at
Yeah,
each
that's a
position.
Yeah,
and
each
Correct.
position.
Okay.
Top
Yeah.
10 in their position.
Yep. So my question is basically like, what do you think of them? Do you care? I mean, they're fun, but more or less is like in 2020, like whatever kind of season we have, because I think there's 4 players that have an opportunity. Want to hear your opinion. I'm going to start off with you, Michael Stewart. Who can make these rankings next year?
Well, I'm going to go with 2 guys on each side of the ball. I'm going to go with Daniel Jones, top 10. I think he'll progress this year. I think him and Garrett is a match made in heaven. I don't know how long Garrett's going to be the offensive coordinator. He could leave after this year for a head coach job, but and then I have a feeling I'm kind of on a little bit of a. I love Slayton, but the wide receiver position is very deep.
It's a very deep position. That's the
yeah.
issue.
It's true.
Yeah. I kind of
No pressure. No pressure.
I like Thomas. I don't know if he'll make the top 10, but I think
Yes, sir.
I think he's going to turn a lot of heads, and people will take notice with this kid. On defense, I got to stay with McKinney because I made that big bold prediction. I love him. I read a lot of stuff on him, so I think he's going to be a gem. And I'm going to go with the big boy, Dexter Lawrence. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be up there with what Snacks did for the Giants.
Yeah, I'm agreeing there. I actually
Love
over
it.
any player on the team, like I mean, he might be high, but I could see Dexter Lawrence being, ranked 80 to 100, next year. I can see that, without a doubt, just because of the position he plays and, he's got a full year under his belt. I can definitely see that. Go ahead, Mikey B. What do you got?
Well, I initially had 10 players written down. Then you said to be realistic. So forget the pie in the sky.
Well, here, Mikey, it's only because, listen, there are guys if everything goes right, okay? Like, let's listen. I referenced TJ Watt a couple minutes ago having some fun, right, with
Sure.
Thomas. TJ Watt, had 14 and a half sacks. He jumped up 40, 50 spots, right?
Yeah.
Listen, we all hope, as the Giants guys, that your prediction comes right and Lorenzo Carter has 11 and a half sacks. Even with 11 and a half sacks, he's not getting ranked in the top 100 or an NFL's top 10 by the NFL executives. So your top 10, I'd be more than glad to listen to it. But the pie in the sky stuff is everything has to go right for that player. I mean, legit.
I'll cut them out.
Yeah. Give me the guy when you look at him goes, well, this guy's going to be a baller for the next, 5 to 7 years. He can make that list.
Yeah, I think on offense you got Barkley, Jones, and Will Hernandez. I think look for him to be on that list. Coming into year 3, he's already got all the tools and the tenacity. So why not? And then defensively, I like McKinney as well, and I think James Bradbury. I think he's got the potential to be a top 10 corner. So those are the ones that I feel strongly about.
All right, Spirit, what do you got for me?
Well, you guys kind of stole a couple of them from me. It's Hernandez for me on offense. I think matched up with Colombo, we're going to finally see him put it all together. And now he's going to hopefully have a competent left tackle to his left, and maybe even a competent center to his right. I know it's asking a lot, but we might
slow down.
2 competent players next to him.
Don't get crazy now.
I know. So Hernandez is my guy to be most improved this year. I think we talked about it in one of the earlier shows. I'm excited to see him. And Lawrence, he was one of the best defensive linemen, rookie-wise, yeah, and even just in general on our team last year. He adds a little pass rush to his skill set, which he does have. He had 6 sacks in his freshman year at Clemson. So if he adds a couple more sacks to his resume, he's going to be knocking on that top 10 door 100%. And those are my 2 guys.
Cool. I like it. Go ahead, Jeff. What do you got for me?
I got a couple takes on this. First of all, I think Saquon is going to be top 10 next year in the top 100. I think he's going to crack the top 10 next year. I think he has a huge
just so
year.
you know, if he wasn't hurt, we'd be talking about something different because he was number 31.
Ridiculous.
31 is high to begin with. I thought he would fall around 2022, but that's only because he got hurt.
Yep.
Exactly. 100% because he got hurt. But then when you look at it's a lot of quarterbacks in the top 100, and you look at some of the guys that made the back end of that list, you're talking Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, and Kirk Cousins. I could easily see Daniel Jones having a gigantic year where he might sneak in the top 100. But in terms of top 10 at their position, I actually see Jabril Peppers having a huge year. I think the different schemes that they're going to throw at quarterbacks added pressure. I think he's going to have some good opportunities. I think his interception level goes more to like 4 or 5 this year. So I could see him cracking the top 10 at the safety position.
Interesting.
Like it.
Yeah, I mean they're all things that like you want to happen, right? I'm kind of more of a guy like you almost can see it coming. You know what I mean? Like to me, I don't think guys make top 10 in their position if they don't start off like already there. Does that make sense? Like
No
when I
doubt.
look at Lawrence, as you said, Spiro, like the guy was a stud in college, right? Like he could have had if he had any any type of defensive line last year, Lawrence might have had a different year. But he had to anchor everything, right? Because we have no pass rush and no linebackers, that kind of thing. So Peppers to me reminds me of a guy who's like always just on the outside looking in. And that's not and it's not a bad thing. It's just saying that like top 10 safeties, I'm like, well, I can see, as Michael Stewart said, I think McKinney starts off, he's already got the hype, right? We already kind of stole him out of the second round, right? Like, so first round guy drops to the second round. Like McKinney's going to have high expectations, right? So if he gets even close to what they expect him to do, he could definitely pop in there at number 8, number 9, number 10. Peppers is just tough. And as much as I like him, he'd really have the ball. Like he'd have to go back to his where do you play? Michigan days.
Mhm.
Yeah, he'd have the ball like something like changed for him in the offseason because he's been in the league now for 4 years or 3 years. Wait.
Yeah. I think
It's-
this is his 4th year.
Yeah.
4th year.
I haven't seen that.
Consistency. And not enough consistency.
He was on pace to have like record highs in each category last year until he got hurt. So I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't hate anything you guys say. You know what I mean? I just, again, I look at a guy like Blake Martinez. He led the team and he led the NFL in tackles like 2 of 3 years, or he was top 3. Like, but for
Boy,
some
Blake.
reason, he's just not sexy, like, or something.
Is he a
Yeah,
top
that's what
10
it
right
is.
now?
What's that, Michael?
Is Martinez a top 10 inside linebacker in the
I
league
don't
right
think
now?
he was. I don't think. Yeah, the only people that made it were Engram and Saquon for the top 10.
Yeah,
List,
yeah.
so-
So Barkley from the NFL executives, Barkley was number 1 in the category, and out of the top 10 for tight ends, he was number 7. Ingram was number 7, which I had to scoff at, but I mean the potential's there.
It's a weak group if you think about it. There's not a ton of tight ends that are like
Yeah,
good.
that's true.
Well, yeah,
Seven.
you got the 2 big up top with Kelsey and Kittle, and then you kind of look around at like maybe Rudolph.
Ertz,
Definitely Ertz. But
then
once
it
you
starts dropping off.
yeah, like the
I guess Gronk is back, but
Can't even think of 10 guys.
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like you got some guys, and there's going to be some new guys, right? Because there's a crop of new tight ends that are coming in that are seeing what Kittle's doing
Mhm.
and what Kelsey are doing. So you should have some pretty interesting new tight ends coming into the league, because the days of having a blocking tight end are kind of gone.
I will say I do like the Bradbury pick because he's going from that NFC South with Julio Jones, Evans, Godwin, Michael Thomas, and you got the NFC East where Dallas is
Yeah.
That's it though. Like who else you really have to worry about right now? I mean, I guess the Eagles picked up a couple guys, but
As far as the NFC goes, no. But the Giants' schedule definitely going to drop some receivers on them, man. With what do you call it? Evans from Tampa Bay, and there's going to be some play. I like him a lot. You know what
I'm
I mean?
saying? He went through it with in the division twice a year, eat all those guys. So the drop off will be a little bit better twice a year facing the guys he's got to face in the NFC East. That's what I think. I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, no doubt. I do want to say that see Toto right there. So if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
So the store is open. I got
Nice.
I got to get to the post office if I didn't have like power all week, right? And flooding and stuff like that for you people here in like the New Jersey metro area. We got clubbed by a tropical storm, but the store is open. You can buy some gear, right? You're looking for presents for, I don't know, birthdays, Christmas, whatever. The store is open on the website. You can buy stickers, hoodies, whatever you want. This is an old prototype one that I originally had made a while back. So it's a little bit dark, but you definitely could go to nygiantsrush.com and check out the gear. And you should rep some damn gear. What's wrong with you folks? You know, rep some damn Giants gear, but NY Giants Rush gear is even better. Now we put some new articles up today. Spiro dropped one up, which is pretty cool, last year versus this year. Pilgrim's Point is up there, you know, rocking the Giants, and we could touch on that. I think you nailed it, Jeff. A 7-9 season is obtainable. Someone said, one of my followers on Twitter says, they win the games they're not supposed to, and they lose the games they're supposed to win. So, I don't know if you guys had a chance to read it yet, but Jeff's got the team at 9-7.
7-9.
7-9. Anybody thinking any differently at this point?
That's right in my wheelhouse. I'm thinking it's 6 to 8 wins, and 7's right smack down in the middle. So, if everything goes well, I think we can get 8. You stumble, you get around 6, 5, 6.
You get 8 wins, Mikey B. Does that put you at a wild card?
No.
I'm going nine minimum. 9-7.
So if they go 8, Michael Stewart, if they go 8-8, can they make the wild card or no?
No. In that division, in conference, you got battling. You got Minnesota and Green Bay going to battle off the division. Whoever is in that division gets the wild card. You got who else you got? You got San Francisco,
Seattle, the
Seattle.
Rams.
Whoever
They're all
wins
better
the division
teams.
gets the wild card. Giants have to win a division to get a playoff spot.
Well, we know.
Let me ask Mikey B something at Mr. 9-7, because I thought 7-9 after looking at my analysis was like that might be the ceiling this year, because I had us beating all the coin flip games like Cleveland, Arizona, games that could just go either way. So what other games do you see us winning? Like, do you actually see us beating Philly this year or Dallas more than once? I gave us the end of the year against Dallas. I'm just wondering if you saw anything else there.
You got to beat the Eagles at some point, right?
It's been like a decade.
Got to beat the Eagles at some point, like in this turn of the century.
What did you have the division record as?
3-3, beating Washington twice and then stealing the last game of the year against Dallas. Jason Garrett, revenge.
Yeah. I don't know that I don't look at when I look at schedules and like try to predict wins. I don't always go game by game, because there's going to be some in there that maybe surprise you one way or another just based on where the team's at that point. I think momentum's huge in a season, like when you play teams. So I don't know that I can point at a game and be like, that's the one that flipped as confidently as just me feeling pretty good about some players developing and taking the next step and meshing the right way with the new coaching staff.
I think the Giants can steal an Eagles game.
I mean, they've been close how many times with lesser rosters?
Eli almost beat them last year.
Right. It should have. A couple of defensive lapses.
Darius Slayton went off last year in Philly.
I think you'll see the Giants in more games this year than they have been with the Judge. I think
Agreed.
Competitive, but I think they'll lose some close games because they don't have the experience of winning.
Mm-hmm.
Keep this in mind.
I have them going winning 5 or 6 games right now.
Okay.
Just because that's it.
Keep this in mind. I try to remind people of this all the time because people get crazy on Twitter. Maybe I do too. But in 2018, the Giants lost 4 games when they were winning with 5 minutes left to go in the game.
And no defense.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you have a defense make one stop, you make one stop, and that team is 8-8.
Yeah.
Right? So, or whatever, 7-9. Like, you're winning 4 games. They were winning four games that they lost within 5 minutes because the defense couldn't make a stop. I would have to think that we can make a stop. You know what I mean? This year. I mean,
Made
with
some improvements.
I mean, just out of the gate, as your article alluded to, Spiro. I mean, with Martinez, Leonard Williams, a second-year Dexter Lawrence, McKinney, and a healthy Peppers, you gotta have someone in that group that can make a freaking stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's
You got
it.
Bradbury, too.
Yeah,
What's
Bradbury.
that? Yeah, Bradbury. Like, yeah. Like, so you know what? You're right. Logistically, Jeff, being not wearing your red, white, and blue underwear, 7-9 makes a whole lot of sense. If they could just, like, listen, those Seattle defense days were really fun to watch. Those guys, with Wagner and Chancellor and those guys, they all played for one another. They were like, we're the Legion of Boom, dude, and they bought into what they were. They were like, this is who we are, right? And they all filled a role. Sherman filling a role. So if the Giants could just
attitude.
so if the Giants could get a little chip on their shoulder and play for one another instead of a contract or a moment on a highlight reel, like, it's possible. And I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just, like, there's an opportunity. 7-9 feels perfect. But
I think you're going to see that they're not going to beat themselves. Joe Judge is going to have the fundamentals down pat. You're already seeing some stuff about, like, him and Daniel Jones and, like, how he's harping on the minor little details. Like, it's not going to be a Pat Shurmur coach team. I think that you'll see that quickly.
Well, listen, I'm going to wrap this up with this. You guys got to give Gettleman the thumbs up for Golden, right?
Oh yeah.
Big time.
And Gates, right? So again, all you Gettleman haters, you're starting to lose this battle, people. You're just starting to lose. And don't you listen? I have heard this week, and I don't want to drone on about it. I've heard trade Zeitler. I've heard cut Tate. I've heard
Cut Zeitler.
Yep. Oh yeah. I've heard this one. This one threw me right over the edge. Slayton's not that good. Like, I mean, people.
I don't know how you could say that realistically.
Like, stop
Any
playing,
of that stuff.
Yeah.
Stop playing Madden and looking at rankings and all that other stuff. Okay, it's just it's making your brains go to mush. Okay, it just is. This team is going the right directions, and Gettleman nails too. Whether you love Leonard Williams or not, okay, he's definitely going to make some plays this year, right? And Gates and Golden are 2 great moves by Grandpa. Okay, Grandpa Gettleman did a nice job there. So you are listening to the Giants, guys. You can find us here. Jeff or me are working on this iTunes thing. I just got to do it. Jeff gave me the info. I read it. Now I got to do it. Vimo's there. There's a YouTube channel. Check out NY Giants Rush. Jeff actually cuts up his own YouTube stuff and puts it on Twitter and makes himself look good. He doesn't put us in there.
That's too much time. I don't have that much time, dude. I would love to do this full time.
So what we tell Jeff is, Jeff, if you're cutting up little parts, make one of Spiro and Mikey B and Michael Stewart, me and you. I'm just kidding. It's all good. I love these guys. You're listening to the Giants, guys. Check us out at nygiantsrush.com. Tell me what you guys are working on real quick, and we'll rock. Michael Stewart, what do you got coming out? You said you got something like ready to burn.
Well, no, I'm just waiting to see what happens after. I think today was the deadline with people opting out, so I'm going to start putting together my rosters and kind of see where the Giants look and where their weaknesses and what they need to do.
At Golfer Bad, you can find him, and you know him. He cranks out more content than anybody I know. I'm sleeping, and he's cranking content out. Like, Michael Stewart is the content king, no doubt about it. Mikey B, what you got for me?
At MJB, and we're going to talk a little bit about the connection and combination of quarterback and head coach.
Ooh, got an idea. Mikey B, why don't you crank up the Java with Jones?
There it is.
See, that's why I get paid the big bucks right there, people. Spiro, what do you got me now? I know you just dropped one in today.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you put up there today.
Yeah, so just talking about the improvements from the 2019 defense to 2020, they might look subtle on paper, but when you add them all up, it's a huge improvement. So be on the lookout for that. Posted today at NY Sports Guy _SPE, and take a look at the article. You'll be an optimist about the defense in 2020.
One day we're gonna get him a Twitter handle that all you people can figure out.
Oh, it's so good. You
No.
ever notice how he
Anybody from
says after he says New York sports, he goes underscore.
Underscore.
Yeah. Like Fred, like it's almost it's
You gotta
like
play the role.
Francesa kind of just continues on with
Yeah.
the speed. Yeah, I love it. Go ahead, Jeff. What you got?
I put out a fresh one today, predicting every game of the schedule, and I, gave a little tidbit about each game and about how it was going to go. So it was probably the most fun I've had with an article, just kind of getting to freelance there and just kind of share my thoughts on how the actual game flow would go too. So read that if you haven't, and give me some feedback with how you think the season's going to go.
Or just tell him he sucks. It's all good.
That's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, because you're telling me I suck all the time. Tell somebody else they suck. All right. Anyway,
At Pilgrim's Point on Twitter.
Exactly, Pilgrim's Point, which is and during the season, like we've all got stuff, like Spiro sometimes does game game film, or what do we call it? Film room.
Yes.
Film room. I like that's my favorite because Spiro gets to tell you who sucked that week and who basically lost the game. But that's okay.
Been a lot of suck lately.
Yeah, we've done a lot of that. So you're listening to the Giants guys. Check us out, video podcast. You can go to Podbean for the audio when I put it up there, but you guys don't really seem to dig the Podbean, so we're gonna get back to doing iTunes and YouTube, and Vimeo seems to work great.
YouTube is live. YouTube is live now.
Yeah, it's ready to rock. So you can
Subscribe.
Of course, you can find me at NY Giants Rush because you people always seem to find me, which is fine. I mean, it's all good. And we are OUT out. Peace.